Hey everybody, this is my 2010 Nissan Altima Hybrid, and this little sedan right here is a great little car. I actually like it quite a bit. I'm going to show you a quick and easy repair regarding suspension components. So one of the common issues that happen with this car when you get enough mileage on it, or even just over time, is you'll start to get some knocking and clunking in the suspension when you're going over bumps and stuff like that. And there are all different types of causes for this, but one of the possible causes that's pretty easy to verify or eliminate is the bushings for the sway bar and sway bar links. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the car up on ramps. We're going to do the rears, and the front's basically the same idea, but we're going to do the rear ones today. So this is a repair I feel confident in doing on my own, and I by no means am I advocating that you do this repair if you're not qualified or if you don't feel like you can handle it. This is completely for entertainment purposes. You do so, if you choose to do this repair on your own vehicle, you do so at your own risk. Is that a good enough disclaimer? Should be. So here I am underneath the car, looking towards the front, and if we get up near the wheel, at each rear wheel there is a doohickey called a link, okay, right here. Comes down and it attaches to the end of this bar. The bar is flat on the ends, okay, and then it goes up and comes right through a bushing, a rubber bushing right here, that is held in place by a U-shaped bracket that's bolted to the frame with 2 bolts. So there it is. That bar continues all the way across to the other side where there's another one. Here's what I want to show you. I'm going to grab this bar and just move it up and down vigorously. You hear that little bit of noise? That little bit of noise when you're going down the road can end up sounding like a pretty loud clunking noise. It's just another one of the clunks and rattles and shakes that you're going to get, or noises you're going to get in a worn suspension system. But unlike some of these other things, these things are pretty easy to replace. Okay, the other thing you need to check on this sway bar or stabilizer bar, I actually don't even know the name of it. How do you like that? You come to the end, so on this side I can see the link a lot better. This is what the link looks like. So here's the bar. We follow the bar to the very end, and we have this device right here. It's got almost like a little universal joiner, a little swivel joint at the end. And then that goes up and attaches to, I believe, what is called the upper control arm. But it's a moving suspension component. And these get worn also. So these two, you can wiggle them and you can see if you've got excessive play in them. These are, I'm not going to be replacing mine today because they're still in good shape. But just so you know, you check these. These are also, as you can see, they're really easy to replace. These you don't even need to raise the car up. These you can take the wheel off and you can get to these. So now I'm going to replace this bushing. I just have to remove one of these bolts and loosen the other, because the way they made the bracket, they actually, one side of the bracket, it's a hole. The other side, it's slotted, so that you can actually loosen, remove one, loosen the other, and take the whole bracket off. So that's a 5/8. These are 5/8 bolts. I'll give you a tip on these. You get rust on the threads, and what can happen is they can be hard to take out. So you want to be careful. You don't want to snap one off, because that's the worst thing that can happen to you in this situation. Well, the worst thing would be the car falling on you, but the second worst thing would be the bolt snapping off and making your life miserable. So anyways, when you start to get this to move a little bit, If it starts to get tight again, reverse direction. Give it like a quarter to a half turn back in and then back out again. And continue that and repeat that process. If you've ever tapped a hole with a tapping, with a tap and a tap wrench, it's a similar principle. But what you're doing is you're actually cleaning off some of that, you're grinding out some of that rust. You're using the threads in there to kind of clean that section of the bolt that's exposed on the other side of this that's getting rusted. So you can actually see on the end of the metal there, you can see the metal. So that's the one that's just a hole. But on this one, the one that's towards the rear of the car, that's got the little slot in it. So I know I don't have to take that bolt all the way out. I just have to loosen it. All right, so now I got the rear bolt out and the front one loosened on both sides. This just drops down like so. Now you're going to pry this bracket off of the old bushing. Now this bushing does not have any gaps in it from what I could see. So this bushing must have been installed by being slid over the end of the bar before the bar is installed, nearest I could figure. But the replacement bushing takes into account that most of us aren't going to want to have to deal with that. So it has a split in it. See, there's actually a split in this bushing to ease installation. The bushings I ordered, by the way, because you can get several different bushings. You can get original OEM, you can get, you know, this, that, the other thing. The ones that I ordered are Moog, and the part number for this particular car, which again is a 2010 Nissan Altima, which I don't think on the hybrid, I don't think this part is different, but it's part number K200301 is what I ended up using, but I would definitely recommend that you double check that yourself if you're going to order the parts. All right, so I'm going to move the old bushing off to the side, and actually this bushing is split. It was just so dirty I didn't notice it. How do you like them apples? So probably the hardest part of this job is getting the new rubber bushings to spread open wide enough to go over the bar, because of the fact that they're not all worn. They fit on tight, and the rubber is a lot tougher on these Moog ones than the old ones. So what I did was I took a chisel, cold chisel that I have, okay, that's got a really steep angle to the wedge, and you could probably do it with a screwdriver too, but basically I wedged this open, and at one corner I got it really wedged open as far as I could and slipped it on at the corner and started to just work it. It can be done, but it's not easy. All right, I also want to mention that you don't want to tighten up these completely until you've got both of these in, because if you tighten one up on this end, you're gonna never get the other one to line up. So you might even want to back out the bolt that has on the slotted end a little bit further. Makes life a little bit easier. But once you get it all lined up, then you can drive them all the way home. I don't know the torque specs, so I just, you know, good and tight is what I did. And then the last thing is, of course, now just go in here and try and wiggle that same bar, and it doesn't budge at all. It's nice and tight. I did notice, turns out I am going to need a sway bar link. This top one is toast. The top of this link is the boot's all rotted away, so even though it's not showing that it's bad, it's probably going to need to be replaced. But we'll save that for another day, because it is freezing cold out here. It's December in New England. All right, so I hope this was a useful video to anybody out there who is trying to get some of the clangs and clunks underneath their Nissan Altima to go away.